Hi guys, welcome to Nothing TV. This is your host Ajay Gupta. Today I'm having Moto G Turbo Edition. I'll be pitching it against Asus Zenfone Max. So let's check out which phone is the better one. So friends, as you can see, both the phones have HD display. There is Corning Gorilla Glass protection on both the phones, but I have a Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection on Moto G Turbo, whereas I have a Corning Gorilla Glass 4 protection, which is the latest one on Zenfone Max. So Zenfone Max, it's really solid, the display, and it is almost virtually scratchless. So we have a much robust display. In terms of build quality, both the phones are sturdy and they are not too heavy, and you will feel good while holding these in your hand. Moving over, the advantage of Moto G over Zenfone Max is that Moto G is waterproof, so you can put it in water, and if you accidentally drop in water, let's take it that way, and the phone will not be spoiled, it will still be working. We cannot say that for Zenfone Max. So now I just remove the backplate on both these phones, so it's a rather flexible and plastic backplate on both these devices. Now the battery compartment in Moto G Turbo Edition is completely sealed. Makes sense because this phone is waterproof, but do keep in mind that it is waterproof only when you put the back cover on, otherwise the water can seep in this SIM cards and micro SD card slot. So we have two SIM card slot, micro SD card slot, and two SIM card slot and a micro SD card slot on both these phones. These are 4G devices, guys. And if I talk about the battery, so the battery is non-removable on both the phones, and it's 3000 milliamp hour battery. Pardon me, it's a 5000 milliamp hour battery on Zenfone Max, whereas on Motorola I only got 2470 milliamp hour battery. So it's average battery backup on Motorola. It will last one day. That is a decent enough battery backup, I should say, and you will not have trouble because it's a pure Android experience, doesn't guzzle up too much power, and a decent experience overall, but not beyond one day. And one day too with the smart usage, when you're not playing games for hours or you're not watching movies for hours. But on the other hand, Asus, it's a 5000 milliamp hour battery. It will last 2 days, so that means that you can go for gaming and video watching continuously for hours on the go. And another plus point in Zenfone Max is that you can make use of this big battery and charge another phone using this battery itself. Moving ahead, guys, there are equal number of apps running on both these phones, and both the phones have a total of 2 GB of RAM. But since I'm having a pure Android experience, so my Moto G Turbo Edition is occupying much amount of RAM, and user free RAM is 1.2 GB as compared to 1 GB of Zenfone Max. Now 1 GB is good out of 2 GB. Usually this is the average, but since this is the pure Android on Moto G Turbo, I'm getting 1.2 GB of free RAM, and apps are movable to SD in both the phones, so that is not an issue. And let me move on to the storage now. You can see both these are standard 16 GB versions. You can expand the storage by a micro SD card, and user available is around 10.5 GB on both the devices. However, let me check another option, that is the USB OTG. So the Zenfone Max has detected the USB OTG. I can access all the data and all the movies and games present in this pen drive directly from my phone. Now let me test it for Moto G3 Turbo Edition, and I have connected the USB OTG. It too has detected, guys. It took absolutely no time, and similarly I can access all the data on my Moto G3 Turbo Edition as well. So quite ample amount of storage space available in both of these phones. Moving on to the camera images now. I click this image with flash on in both the phones, and the quality is superb, guys. Both the phones are giving me amazing amount of details, and you can see, right, that the colors and quality is more or less similar on both the phones using the rear camera. Now this image was taken with the flash off, and again the result is similar in both the devices. So both the phones have 13 megapixel rear camera with dual tone flash, and both are performing similarly in the rear camera quality. I'll show you another image too. So this was with flash on. Now because of the laser autofocus, Zenfone Max is able to focus in a better manner, and I have a slightly better image. You can see the colors are better and the image is sharper than what a Moto G Turbo could click, because the default camera app is not so good at zooming in, but the lens quality is as good as Zenfone Max, so you can install external app and make use of that. That will definitely give you better image. In terms of rear camera, guys, Zenfone Max captures a much wider area as compared to Moto G Turbo Edition, but the image clarity is again it's head on in both the phones. I can't deduct any marks, I can't give any extra marks. A decent front facing camera in both the phones. So in terms of camera, both the phones are pretty much similar. Let me go and show you the options available in the camera app of both these smartphones, and you might be knowing the pure Android experience. So in Zenfone Max, I can adjust white balance, ISO, exposure, I can anti-shake enhancement, image quality, I can set up the timer, and video stabilization feature is also there. Plus I can go for low light mode, beautification mode, selfie mode, GIF animation mode, slow motion mode, or time lapse mode. These features are not available in the Moto G Turbo's default app, so you can install an external app. Timer is available, location setter is available, shake to capture is available, touch to focus, but it's not as extensive as the app I'm having on Zenfone. Now another important thing is that when I reverse it, I can make a video using the front facing camera of the default app present on the Moto G3 Turbo, but that is not the case in the Zenfone. I have to install, like I installed Camera Max and recorded a video using the front facing camera. I showed that video. Do hit the subscribe button if you haven't seen that. So that was about the camera. Both the phones are equally good. Moving ahead, it's time to check the NT2 benchmark performance. So friends, this is what NT2 benchmark has to say. Zenfone Max get a score of 25,409, whereas Moto G Turbo Edition gets a score of 30,516. Now the difference is because Moto G Turbo Edition is running on Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 processor, while Zenfone Max got Qualcomm Snapdragon 4110 chipset. Now processor 615 is notorious for its heating, and it shows. So while I was running the benchmark, I'll show you the temperature also. Yeah. So the phone heat up slightly. You can see there is 2-degree temperature difference in both of these phones. The temperature difference is not significant as of now, but when you go for heavy gaming on both the phones, can run heavy games efficiently. You can see I played Walking Wall Robots and Dead Trigger 2 on both these phones I showed in the earlier videos. However, the game slows down in Moto G Turbo Edition after 20 minutes of usage, but it doesn't happen in Zenfone Max. However, on the other hand, I cannot run some games on full graphic settings in Zenfone Max because the processor is not that strong. I have to tone down the graphic settings, I have to shift them to medium graphic settings, but on Turbo Edition I can run that. So if you can manage the slight heating factor, However, it's not as significant as other devices like running same processor 625 like Xiaomi Mi 4i heats like anything. That is not the case because I'm having pure Android in Moto G Turbo Edition. Now let me show you the multi-touch on these phones, and I'll also show you the sensors which these phones have. So I'm having a 10-point multi-touch on both the phones. Let's jump to the sensors. For the guys interested in sensors, now both the phones do not have support for NFC, and when it comes to sensors, so you can see acceleration sensor is supported in both the phones, gyroscope uncalibrated is supported in both the phones, light sensor is supported in both the phones. Apart from that, proximity sensor is supported in both the phones. And that's all for Moto G Turbo, but Zenfone has support for rotation vector, it has support for orientation sensor, and magnetic field sensor too is supported. So overall, similar kind of sensors are supported, and in terms of processing power, again, both these phones are head to head, and you can run heavy games, you can multitask on these phones. Zenfone Max will not heat up, and Moto G Turbo Edition does heat up. So guys, go for Moto G Turbo Edition if you want a pure Android experience, if you want a compact phone that can be operated in one hand, if you want to opt for Motorola, which is a really cool brand currently, and if you want the latest updates, because Android updates are the first to come in Motorola. And go for Zenfone Max if you want a phone that got a big display. The display is really robust, guys. It's the latest Corning Gorilla Glass 4 protection. Moreover, if you want a 2-day battery and you want your phone to double up as a power bank which can charge other devices as well, then Zenfone Max should be your choice. Now, if I talk about the similarity in both these phones are good looking, they are robust, and the camera, guys, 13 megapixel, 5 megapixel, I showed you the images, camera is more or less similar. Now it's up to you. I have told what are the features and why you should opt for Moto G Turbo Edition, why you should opt for Zenfone Max. If you have any queries, do hit the subscribe button over here and leave your queries in the comment section. I'll answer them all personally. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Have a wonderful day.